absolute tragic day for the city of Charlotte and for the profession of law enforcement. Today we lost some heroes that are out to just simply trying to keep our community safe.
4 members of law enforcement, including U.S. Marshals and local police, were killed last night and 4 others injured after a shooting in Charlotte, North Carolina. Joshua Iyer, Sam Pollock, William Alden Elliott, and another unidentified officer, the latest to fall victim to the attack on law enforcement in our country.
Joining us now for more is former U.S. Marshal Task Force Officer Alex Coker and former NYPD intelligence officer Christopher Strom. Gentlemen, great to have you on this morning. I wish it were under better circumstances. Alex, this shooting took place as law enforcement showed up to serve a routine warrant to a convicted felon believed to have illegal firearms in the house. Take us through what happened.
Yes, sir. First of all, my heart goes out to the families of the fallen officers. They are hurting right now. 4 officers that were killed doing their job, trying to save people that care nothing about them. It's an extremely tough job. You're basically hunting for Easter eggs, but these Easter eggs have guns that are trying to kill you. My understanding, they were trying to take the suspect into custody. They're trying to react to an action of a bad guy. The bad guy always has the element of surprise. And once that happened, the shots were fired. They still got to do 2 things. They got to take that suspect into custody, and then they got to render aid to him as well. And then they started taking shots from inside the house. And the cops, have to be able to account for every round that goes inside that house to make sure it's not hitting an innocent victim inside. It's an extremely tough job. And, America has a heart problem, and they need to have respect for authority out there and teach your kids, to respect authority, not to hate on the police.
Yeah, and Christopher, we saw President Joe Biden release a statement yesterday calling on Congress to ban assault weapons, using the death of these officers as a way to push gun control. This was a convicted felon. If a felon wants to possess an illegal firearm, a felon's going to possess an illegal firearm. What's your reaction to this narrative?
Oh, he's shameful. I mean, this is the tried and true narrative. We have 4 police officers that are dead. We have children that are going to grow up without their father, wives without their husband, and he wants to tie it to gun control instead of showing some kind of, mercy and sympathy for the family. So again, I'm not surprised by his behavior. Lately, he's been more extreme in terms of being left of any kind of issue in the world. But this is emblematic of the war on police. Make no mistake about it. This is an elevated rise of violence against police. It's happening nationally. It's been happening nationally since 2019.
Yeah, we can't understate what the White House did yesterday. So literally less than a few hours after these officers were brutally murdered, the White House puts out a statement saying, let's ban assault weapons. Alex, this wasn't a mass shooting. This was not a mass shooting. This was a situation where officers were doing their jobs, serving a warrant. By the way, they were right about the warrant, and they were murdered. They lost their lives as a result of it. And the White House says we've got to ban assault weapons like this was a mass shooting. It was not.
Listen, I've been training kids ages 14 to 20 years of age that want to be future cops and future soldiers. I've taught them how to carry weapons, how to use them responsibly. And, the 50s and 60s, they had weapons inside high schools, teaching kids, proper gun safety. It's not a gun problem. The gun is only a tool. It's a heart problem. And teaching kids, that there's not a mother and father family system in America anymore. And the kids are taught to hate the police instead of sitting there and raising them up to respect authority. And going back to the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. My personal opinion, if you want to change the country and change it for the better, you need to start a program, not a junior RTC type program, military style program, not just in high school, but starting in kindergarten all the way up. You have a more disciplined society, a more organized society, and a better nation overall. And police departments are hurting overall. They're hurting on numbers. If you want to do something to serve your country, sign up to your local police department to make a difference, to make a change, or serve in the military. But we need to make a change inside the country, and it's a heart problem.
Alex, this was President Biden last week trying to say he understands what families of murdered police officers are going through. Take a listen.
We pray for their loved ones whose hearts have been broken. Every time a police officer puts on that shield every morning, their husband or wife, whatever it is, or child, worries about will they get that phone call. they get that phone call. I got one of those phone calls in a different circumstance. Find out you've lost part of your soul, lost part of your heart.
So yeah, he's referencing his son Bo, who died of cancer, which is also tragic. But he seems to say that he understands. If he understood, I think he'd offer something more than maybe just one statement talking about banning assault weapons, Christopher?
Yeah, he's always going to tie it back to his son. He knows nobody's going to challenge him on that issue. It's really reprehensible. Again, I have no words for him other than the fact that anytime there's a tragedy, somehow he weaves in a story about his family member. And it's really despicable and reprehensible. He thinks he knows that what police officers go through. There's not one union in this country, not one, that supported him for re-election, not one, and during his campaign. So the fact that he's trying to tie himself as he has any kind of an affinity or affection, or that the police have any kind of affinity or affection for him, is laughable.
Yeah. Alex, Christopher, thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we are continuing to think